Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Hi guys, KO here. Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I'm excited to be here today. We are going to be talking about beliefs versus values. I'm really excited about this because in a nutshell, I really believe we can align as a country, as a world over our core values. Even if our beliefs have us believing something different from one another, a lot of times if you can dig into the values, we have a lot more in common. So what does that mean? We are going to talk about what is a belief, what is a value, what is the difference in them, and really so you can identify with what you care about. Beliefs are often things that we grew up with, our environment we came from, and not necessarily tied to our personal opinions or, again, values. It's more of just something we've been taught to believe. So if we can get into the values and what we actually care about, this can set us free to a whole nother level and unite with people that we didn't think we were like, but we actually are. And these are some questions and conversations that are happening in big business. Lots of big companies are spending a lot of money to identify their own values. And as leaders, we are working to identify our values. So it's clear when our employees or teammates or kiddos that we're coaching and teaching understand where we're coming in at. And so they know how to act accordingly and then figure out if they buy in or not. And if not, then you can change your situation, change what you do, change your coach, change your leader, whatever it needs to be. So I found a great article and it's called Buy Better Up, and it's a belief or a value. Learn the difference to set yourself free. If you don't know, koalliance is launching full values coaching. So we're helping you determine your values to further identify what is important to you and to fully walk in your purpose and ideally walk into self-actualization where you really feel free in alignment with whatever it is you're doing. Maybe it's your personal world, maybe it's your professional world, but we are helping you define those personal values. We've got a really great company that has an assessment that helps you do that. And then I help you break it down. And it can be for yourself, for your marriage, for your company, for whatever. But these values in moving forward in life are so critical. I've done thousands of hours of fitness training, human optimization in business, you name it, from neurofeedback, brain stuff to body stuff to diet, nutrition. Values and knowing what's intrinsically important to you, I would rank as the number one thing to identify in all human optimization, make yourself better things. So it's really, really important. We'll be talking more about this on the podcast as we go throughout. I'm going to do one that's just fully on our values coaching here coming up. But for now, I really just wanted to get into a deep dive and identify the definitions between a belief and a value so we really understand the difference and how powerful these values are and understand what we care about versus what we're really told to be caring about. So again, this is called Belief or a Value. Learn the difference to set yourself free. As human beings, we make judgments every day about how to behave. We leave the room on the escalator for hurried people to race by. We hold the door open for strangers at the store, and we give our bus seats to a person having difficulty standing. As small as they might seem, all of these reflections of our personal beliefs, values, and attitudes, guiding principles that govern how we experience and interact with the world. Both beliefs and values influence our decision-making, impacting both how we perceive others and how they perceive us. Huge. If those expectations were handed down to us, we might feel trapped by them or stuck in a certain role, but we don't have to be. We're allowed to break free of expectations and set goals based on our own beliefs and core values. The first step is to understand how beliefs and values work. Then we can ask ourselves, where do we fit in the equation? Let's review what beliefs versus values are and some beliefs and values examples. Now, these are really great, simple examples. I encourage you, if you're an adult leader, parent, whatever, coach, get into this conversation with your kiddos, your young people, your students, your athletes, because I think the light bulb will go off on the difference between beliefs and values, and they will feel this internal peace and this internal sense of self-worth and them just being an individual and really leaning into what they care about. It's a really, really freeing experience. The importance of knowing our place. Knowing the difference between values and beliefs is essential to our personal growth. As we'll see, these concepts influence us in in visible ways. We peel back the curtain. We can choose whether we accept the beliefs prescribed to us or whether our personal values align with our environment. Having a clear understanding of the beliefs and values that guide you offers a level of self-awareness that helps you organize your life in a way that benefits you. If you've ever tried to work with a leader who didn't have clear values, you know it's hard to follow their example or identify what they're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to be a leader but don't know what values you follow, you might not be as effective. To honor your beliefs and values, you could change careers to pursue something more purposeful, make time for important people in your life, and live a new sense of meaning. All of this can improve your mental health and overall well-being. It can also make it clearer to you in your team what matters to you, making you a more compelling leader. When managing others, your actions speak much louder than words. We've done 100 podcasts on leading by example. We've had phenomenal people and trailblazers that have come on and been proof of leading by example. So this is just the science and the in-depth work behind proving that leading by example is critical. So let's lock and load. What are beliefs? Beliefs are things that we believe to be true regardless of the evidence. They're the assumptions we make about the world. They influence our thoughts, behaviors, and attitudes in significant ways. For an example, let's consider dogs. Perfect example from my world. You know this. Some people believe that there are no bad dogs, only bad owners. That'd be me. Others might believe that not all dogs are inherently good. These belief systems dictate how you navigate the world. In this case, how you approach dogs. We often make these assumptions based on what we see, hear, and read and experience growing up. Many of our beliefs are rooted in our religious and cultural backgrounds. Types of beliefs. Each set of beliefs measures how a specific behavior benefits us or others within our society, culture, or community. Here's a list of common types of belief. Now, this is really great because coming off 2020, we've been more divided than ever. I do see like we're getting more on a united front, but we still have, of course, a long way to go. But these are top things that really tend to divide us. And I want you to really sit and think, are these my internal beliefs or are these things from my environment that I've just taught to believe in? This is where you can really get into yourself as an individual. Yes, we come from our family. Your family is important, la, la, la. But at the end of the day, you're an individual and you have separate experiences. So it's okay for you to have separate opinions and beliefs than your family. And your values will help determine that. Political beliefs, how we think power should be distributed and controlled within a society. Social beliefs, how we think people's personal lives should be structured in relation to the rest of society. Religious beliefs, we're likely all familiar with several dominant religions, but we can categorize religious beliefs in two ways. Monotheistic religions that believe in a singular deity, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism fall into these categories. Polytheistic religions that believe in multiple deities like Hinduism, Taoism, and Confucianism. So what are values? Value systems dictate how we judge what's considered good or bad in our community, culture, or society. They're unwritten rules that set the standards of behaviors in our daily life. Everyone has their own core values, but we're heavily influenced by our environment. For example, someone who grew up in a small town might place a higher value on their neighborhood community than someone who grew up in a city. The small town person grew up in an environment where they knew all of their neighbors and could turn to them for help. The city person might still have a community, but it might be made up of people from other areas of their life, not people living down the block. We learn values through a combination of background experience and a sense of self. We might start with our culture's or religion's values, but we can adjust them as we experience more. When we become aware of our values, we can apply them to all facets of life. These are the types of values. There are 4 types of values we can find in our environment. Each measures how a behavior benefits us or others within our society, culture, or community. Here are examples of values that fall in different categories. Number 1, functional value. Does this behavior or item provide a useful service? Monetary value. Is this behavior capable of generating money? Social value. Does this behavior help us connect with others or help others connect? Psychological value. Does this behavior allow us to express ourselves more clearly? Cultural value. Do people in my community share this value with me? Does it share a custom or ritual with the people in my group? So those are great. And I will set this article up so you can look at these. So I think it's good. It is a lot of information fast, but it's good to kind of sit down and process each of these. And I think you'll really get clear on where you believe and what you do value, or at minimum, the difference between beliefs and values and where you have more control and it's more individualized with your values. The connection between beliefs and values. What you believe guides your values and how you can and how you conduct yourself. Remaining committed to your beliefs can lead them to form values in your life. Strong beliefs can turn into values, but not all values translate into beliefs. Things like integrity or honesty are values that guide your decision making. However, honesty isn't a belief system. Our values often don't influence our beliefs since they're more tangible. In actuality, our beliefs tend to inform our values. If we believe that all people are inherently good, our values are more likely to be centered around kindness and altruism. How does culture affect our beliefs and values? We often acquire our beliefs and values through our culture's reward and punishment system. When we go against society's values, we're ostracized for misbehaving or not adhering to what's considered good, in quotes. As long as we behave in accordance with society's values, we were rewarded, praised, or left alone. This is why on Turmeric and Tequila, we are here for graceful disruption, because anyone blazing their own trail and walking outside of society's values, what maybe has been around for 100 years ago, does get ostracized. But we are here to unite with you and say, follow your heart. You got to do the right thing and do it your way. Similarities and differences. Here are the main similarities and differences between beliefs and values. Differences. Beliefs are our assumptions about the world. Values are how we attribute worth to objects and behaviors. Beliefs stem from our life experience, spiritual learnings, and culture. Our beliefs heavily influence our values. Beliefs can teeter into prejudice, and values can manifest that prejudice. Beliefs affect our morals. Values are how we live our morals through behavior, character, and personality. Similarities. External environments influence both beliefs and values. Beliefs and values influence our behavior and how we experience the world. Both are a shared sense of identity and community. Beliefs and values can change over time. Again, reread this list. Making beliefs and values work for us. We acquire beliefs and values from the day we are born. We learn to treat others in a certain way. We might be encouraged to go to college or told to live in a certain lifestyle, but in reality, we don't have to follow all the rules prescribed to us. I will say this again. In reality, we don't have to follow all the rules that are prescribed to us. As we meet people and gain new experiences, we might find a better path. And when I want to say that I don't love better path, I would want to say a path that's more in aligned with your beliefs and your values. There is no better or worse, in my opinion. It's just finding something that's in alignment with your heart space, your individual self, your beliefs and values. Unfortunately, as we go through life, we might also pick up limiting beliefs about ourselves. We think we're not good enough and capable or unlovable, but we don't have to accept these thoughts. Here's how we can live a life per our own values and beliefs. This is the good stuff. Identify our core beliefs and values. Identifying what moral values are important to us compared to people around us can help us find our purpose and guide our life plans. This is big. If you can really work to identify these things early on, you can make so many decisions differently. I do think there is a destiny and a plan in some capacity, but you still got to show up and do the work. And if you're making these conscious, purposeful decisions early on, it might navigate you around a lot of potholes that I've certainly stumbled upon. Make a plan. What would our lives look like if we are in tune with our beliefs and our values? When we have our answer, we can plan how to get there. Now, this doesn't mean you need to have A to B to C, like super detailed down. It can simply be like, I want to go to college. I want to go to trade school. I want to be a mom. I want to do this. And then you can start to plan, reverse engineer from that goal, working backwards. And these can be broad strokes. It doesn't have to be in detail, just broad strokes. We're just being intentional about choices early. Evaluate the consequences. If we make this change, how will others react? What will people in my community think? Some changes will elicit a stronger reaction than others. We should decide if it's worth it to hold firm to this value. Be ready for the opposition no matter what you choose. That is just how our society is. Some people will love you, some people will hate you, but honestly, it doesn't effing matter. You've got to figure out what you want, because you can try and live by people's rules and what people are telling you and blah, blah, blah for so long. And then at some point you'll be questioning everything, and you'll just be right back to this list of how do we live in our values and beliefs, and starting at that point. So some people have to do the long way. I certainly did. And that's okay. But if you can do this stuff early and know that some people aren't going to agree with your decisions and your authentic self, that's okay. You will find your tribe way faster if you know. You don't need to have everybody in the world rooting for you. Just have the right ones. Embracing your beliefs. It's not easy to go against the grain, but it's possible. This is worth repeating. It's not easy to go against the grain, but it's possible. We can change careers, prioritize our loved ones, or travel for a year before college. As long as we have a realistic plan, we can set goals that are right for us and no one else. figure out what you want to do, whatever it is. And I hope my kiddos under 18 are hearing this. Write down that dream. If you were 0 years old and you wanted to be an artist, put that out there. That's within you. Usually when we're a kid, we know what we want. We're doing what we want. We talk about our passions, we talk about our dreams, and it's there. It's as we get older that starts to dilute and wash away, and we start to pick these practical routes. And this is why we have a mental health problem, crisis in America and around the world, because we're living outside of what we authentically want to be doing and our purpose in this world. So we got to get back to that. And usually our 0-year-old self knows. If you need help setting goals that balance your beliefs and values, this Better Up can help you. They're always selling something. You can certainly reach out to me or koalliance, but there's a host of free tools online that can help you determine your values. I have an excellent one on koalliance. It's $35. It gives you 7 pages of information. It's the best. It's the one I did, and I'm going to do every 5 years because your values do change. But it really, when I did it, helped me feel this sense of self that I didn't really understand. Things I didn't know that I cared about. My top 3 values were honesty, independence, and creativity. Honesty is, I love transparency. I love people telling the truth. Hence we have a podcast and, all these other things. Before I even knew it, we were kind of seeking truth on so many levels. And independence. I'm a very independent human. I'm a team sports person, but me doing things and experiencing and working for my own success my way has been deeply important for me for personal purpose and gratification and feeling useful in this world. Creativity, though, was my sneaker. I didn't know that one was important to me, but then when I looked at decisions I'd made in my life, constantly creating t-shirts and companies and, creative stuff with outfits and fashion and whatever, I was like, oh, duh, of course. So knowing those 3 things are important to me really started to guide my decisions on, of course, I want to create a company and get creative and do a podcast and design all the art and blah, blah, blah. And this allows me to be independent. And through that, I can seek truth. So all my decisions started to align through that. And when that starts to align and continue to do so, that's when the freedom and alignment happens. And I felt it personally. So I'm so deeply passionate about this. At minimum, go out there and just do a quick core value test. You can Google something. Like I said, I've got a cheap one that gives you wealth information on koalliance. I'll link all this up. And then if you want some further coaching, that's what I've done and invested in for myself. It was the best money and time I've ever spent. You can reach out to us and let us know, but re-listen to this podcast. I'll put this article link up, dig into it, find your core values, and take some time to think about what your core values are to you and how they align with maybe the beliefs that you grew up with, things that, were a part of our environment. So everything your parents or the environment you grew up in, they might not be your beliefs. You might not be religious. You might actually be religious. You might believe in a different religion or different views on whatever, the people around you, fitness, nutrition, anything. And you might just change careers. Like it might be a really pivotal point. And if you're in a spot in life where you're feeling stuck and you don't know what to do next, maybe you've got the husband or wife, you've got the kids, you've got the paid off house, or like everything's kind of settled and you still feel unfulfilled, do your core values. There's something out of alignment and there's nothing that's going to fill that. Money, people, whatever, nothing's going to fill that void if you're feeling it right now. You got to understand what your core values are, understand what intrinsically makes you happy, what makes you feel useful and purposeful, and then find a way and walk in that purpose. And that is when our self-actualization and our fulfillment internally happens. And usually if you don't have the relationship or the money or the things you're seeking, go do the core values, get in your purpose. And not only will those things come in if that's what you're truly seeking, the right versions of those things will come in that you're truly seeking. So I hope this makes sense. We'll continue to deep dive into values. I think it's so deeply important for our physical health, but most importantly, our mental health. But most importantly, for us to be walking in this world of use and finding that purpose. So we are useful, not only to ourselves, but everyone else around us. That is the point. I've said this so many times. My last podcast came out last week with Matt Brown. We talked about living in service. That's what it's about. Make all the money, date, marry, do kids, whatever your thing is, create businesses. But really find your purpose and walk in it so you are useful and you're living in service in this world. And that's where the fulfillment comes in. I really think that's what the point of life is. You don't have to believe me. I'm not God, universe, or Madonna. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a girl on a mic with a passion about being purposeful and useful in my own world. And I feel like for me, this podcast is part of that. So I will give you whatever passion and thoughts I have, and please take and leave whatever you do or don't want, but I hope there's points of value you can take and then go reverberate things onto your own journey and impact others positively in whatever you're passionate about. I'm here for you. Call me if you need a coach. Let's level up together. I'm an individual. I'm an independent human, but damn, I love me some teamwork. So let's do it together. Have a great day. Find your values and let's make this world a better place. Cheers.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.